What's up everyone, Andrew Baena here, and on today's video we are going to be taking a look at the multi-scale 8-string guitar from Harley Benton. This is one of the cheapest 8-string multi-scale guitars on the market. In fact, it might be the cheapest, but I could be wrong on that. If I am, let me know in the comments. But anyways, currently at the time of filming this video, this guitar retails for only $325 US. Before we move on any further into the video, it is worth mentioning that this guitar was sent to me by Thomann/Harley Benton, and also I do make affiliate sale money off of any purchase from Thomann, and you can find the link to that in the description and the pinned comment below. So if you're looking to buy this guitar or anything else from Thomann, please go use my link because I would really appreciate it. With that being said, I will try to be as unbiased as possible like always, and as for the format of this video, what I'm going to do is show what this guitar sounds like in a full demo mix, then we're going to come back, talk about the specs and features of this instrument, and then show you a couple of tone clips of the guitar by itself. I also want to mention really quickly, go check out my friend Eric's video on setting up and restringing this guitar because he helped set it up and make it play as good as it possibly can. And also in the near future, I will be doing a second video with this guitar where I follow it up and add a bunch of mods to it to make it sound and feel even better. So stay tuned to my channel for that if you're interested. But with all that being said, let's move on to the first section of this video, which is a full mix playthrough video with this guitar. So I have it tuned to drop E using 10 to 56 and then an 80 for the low E. And for this demo, I'm going to be playing a portion of my band Carcosa's song Vermin. It sounds like this. Okay, now that you've heard how this guitar sounds in a full demo mix, we're going to talk about the specs and features of this instrument. So first and foremost, obviously this is an 8-string guitar with a multi-scale or fan fret design. Those are the two features that people are going to notice first and foremost. As for the actual scale length of the neck, essentially what fan fret means is, of course, they are a fan or angle to the frets. That is because on the high E string, it is a 25.5-inch scale length, and on the low E string, it's a 27-inch scale length. So basically, you know, the frets angle to match that. As for the other specs of this guitar, it has a basswood body with a quilted maple veneer top, of course, finished in this awesome emerald burst finish. Looks pretty good. It is quite noticeable right here though that this is where the seam is. There's like a pretty big line, but again, the guitar is like $325, so I'm not too worried about that personally, but it's up to you if you care about that or not. As for the neck of the guitar, we have a 5-piece neck, which is maple and Niato. Moving on to the fretboard, we have a roasted Jatoba fretboard. And last but not least, moving on to the electronics, we have two HBZ custom wound pickups, which are basically just Harley Benton's own pickups, and of course their own bridge and their own kind of locking tuners up here. And as for the controls, very simple: volume, tone, and three-way pickup selector. So that's it in terms of the specs and features of the Harley Benton 8-string multi-scale guitar. Next up, I'm going to show you how this guitar sounds isolated by itself outside of a mix. So this is all just a single take, single guitar track, and for the guitar tone, I'm using the same tone I was using in the mix, which is the Neural DSP Gojira plugin, and it sounds like this. Before we get onto the solo tone clips, there's one more thing I forgot to mention, and that is there's a lot of like string resonant buzz, which you might be able to hear when my volume is off. And that seems to be coming from above the nut. So what you're gonna wanna do probably is get like a piece of foam and stick it behind there, or get like a Groove Gear fret wrap or something like that, because that resonant noise is quite annoying to play with. I'm not gonna put a piece of foam behind there for the purpose of, you know, this being like the stock video, but, you know, just throwing that out there. Okay, and last but not least are my thoughts and opinions on this instrument. Now, it's kind of hard to judge this instrument too harshly because, again, the price point is so ridiculously low, $325, that, you know, there are some things that I personally don't think matter at that price point. Like I was mentioning earlier, you know, there's a couple finish flaws here and there, like a big seam down the middle where you can see, you know, that's where the veneer was glued together. And, you know, some scratches on the fretboard and stuff like that. Nothing that you can really see come across in this video, but it's definitely there. So, you know, that kind of stuff happens with a cheap guitar, and you kind of, or at least I think you should expect that. Like, I wouldn't go into this expecting like a $3,000 high-end custom shop guitar. So little things like that, no big deal in my opinion. What's not disappointing, however, is the fretwork. The frets actually feel really nice. One of the biggest problems with cheap guitars, and the thing that turns you off the most from playing it, is sharp fret ends, which means like when you play, you can literally feel them cutting into your fingers. That is like the #1 most annoying thing on cheap guitars. Sometimes even not cheap guitars have that issue, and I'm happy to say that this one does not. So that is a huge bonus, because a nice feeling guitar is very important, especially at this price point, because with other stuff you can definitely swap it out and upgrade it, which is, like I said, what I'm going to do in a future video. The only two areas on this guitar which I think are really lacking, and again, it kind of makes sense in this price point, is #1, the tuners. So on the back of the guitar, it does have locking tuners, and they're just Harley Benton's own locking tuners. So it's kind of nice that they are locking, because that's better than having not locking tuners in my opinion. But they're very okay. Like, they do the job. They hold the string in place for the most part. The stability isn't great. If you're really like hitting that low 8th string especially really hard, it does tend to come a little bit loose over time. Not the end of the world, but I would kind of expect to have to be kind of fine-tuning and retuning as you play a little bit more than I would like personally. It's not so bad to the point that it's unplayable, but in my opinion, at least in my experience with this guitar, you will need to be quite mindful of your tuning and making sure that you're checking your tuning between each take or between each song if you're playing live or whatever the situation may be. I'm also really spoiled and have a lot of guitars with Evertune, so I'm used to having perfect tuning all the time, so bear that in mind as well. The other area that is a little bit lacking as well is the pickups. Now, obviously, with a $325 guitar using, you know, their own brand name pickups, I didn't really have high expectations for these. They're definitely not the worst sounding 8-string pickups that I've ever played, which is saying something, because I've played 8-strings that are more expensive than this that I thought actually had worse sounding pickups. So that's a good thing. Again, they can definitely sound better with something else, and I will be putting something else in a future video, but they're manageable, okay? Like, they don't sound terrible, they don't sound great, they're just like, they're okay. You know, they're not good, they're not bad, they're okay. They do the job. I did what I could to make it sound as good as possible in my mix, and I'm, you know, decently happy with the tone. There's some things that I still don't like about it. In my opinion, it's really bass heavy, which I personally don't like. I know it's kind of ironic because you're tuning low, but that's a whole other topic that I won't talk about. But yeah, the pickups are just okay. And again, given the price point, it's expected. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the guitar. Overall, for somebody who is thinking about trying an 8-string for the first time, I can see this being a good option because you maybe don't want to drop like $1,000 or $2,000 on something really nice because you don't even know if you're gonna like it, and you want to maybe try fan frets, or you maybe want to try an 8-string. Like, this is a pretty good option to get into that game for not very much money, so that's pretty cool. The other type of player that I can see a guitar like this being beneficial for is obviously if you just don't have that much money to invest in gear, then, you know, this is a great starting point, and it allows you to have the potential to upgrade it in the future. So, you know, it's a good starting point, a good bones, as people say, you know what I mean? Like, everything about it is good or okay, and the stuff that's just okay or could use some work can be upgraded if you so choose to over time. Or if you just want to try it out and see if you like it or not and then sell it, then, you know, it's a kind of a cheaper way to do that without losing out on too much money, basically. So that pretty much covers all my thoughts on this instrument. Again, if you are interested in getting one, be sure to go check out the link in the description or the pinned comment below. Again, I do make a little bit of affiliate money off of that, so I would really appreciate it if you go check that link out, because that would be so helpful to me and my channel. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this video. Again, I will be doing another follow-up video with this guitar, putting in some upgrades. I'm thinking of potentially putting Fishman Fluence Moderns and maybe some nice like Grover locking tuners or something like that. And I think that would really help kind of beef up the guitar. Of course, it is a little ironic because those upgrades will cost just as much as the guitar costs, but I know some people really like doing the whole upgrade and customization thing, so I thought that'd be an interesting video. So be sure to stick around for that. And of course, last but not least, a massive thank you to all my Patreon members whose names are on the screen at this point in time. If you're interested in audio downloads, guitar tabs, stems, or a shout out on the screen wherever applicable, please be sure to go check out my Patreon page. That's all I got to say for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.